Right lads, best pint of Guinness in Mullingar. Where is it? I feel like the Midlands have been neglected for far too long. If you look at a map of all the different places I've hit, it's quite sort of scattered along the west, the south, the north, the east side, and the middle is just kind of barren. So I put up a poll on my Instagram. I said, do you want to see me go to Mullingar or Tullamore? Mullingar won fairly convincingly. So probably not the first town that comes to mind if you think, where am I going to go for a nice weekend away? But to say I was surprised by the standard of pints would be an underestimation, an understatement. Nailed it. The video is sponsored by my very good friends at the West Cork Beard Company. Firstly, just a massive shout out to Colin and the lads supporting me all through 2021. They're a great local Irish company. They're absolutely flying. They're pretty much wiped out of stock for Christmas. They've got a few of their beard butters left. So if you get onto their website ASAP, you might be able to snag one of them. Perfect little stocking filler. Something to definitely check out is the West Cork Beard Company YouTube channel. Colin has loads of videos on there. He's a how to grow your beard series. A couple of new videos for lads if you maybe have a week or two off over Christmas trying to grow that beard. It's a perfect chance for going from leaving the office around 23rd with a bit of stubble, growing a little bit of a beard over Christmas, and rocking back up in January with an absolute mane on your feckin' face. westcorkbeardcompany.ie, code GURU for 10% off, and shout out to them for supporting me all year. Enjoy the video lads. Mullingar, surprisingly good. Right lads, I'm in Mullingar. I feel like over the last couple of years the Midlands of Ireland have been neglected. So Mullingar is getting hit right before Christmas. It feels Christmassy, it feels absolutely Baltic. It's about 1 degree. I've got 4 pubs to hit. Let's get in out of the cold. I hope the fires are roaring. Right lads, pub 1, Clark's Bar. Tiny bit of a walk outside the town. I'm looking forward to a warm fire hopefully and a cold pint. Come on. This is nice and cozy back here. Right lads, no fire, but it is cozy. It's warm, it's cozy. And more importantly, this pint actually looks unbelievable. It's funny, it's like my hands are fucking nearly numb that the pint feels... I know it's cold, but it doesn't feel as cold as normal, but it's because my hands are so cold. So it actually feels perfect temperature, and the last thing you want when you're coming in and it's Baltic cold outside, the last thing you want is the pint to be too cold. So I'm absolutely delighted with that. Looks picture perfect. 1 or 2 tiny little bubbles in the head, but the head is the perfect size, perfect colour, all side glass. €4.80, you know we're in the Midlands lads, we're not in the big smoke anymore. Pint under a fiver. Shut up and drink it, snatch your lads, Mullingar. Also, you can probably hear it in my voice. Tiny bit of a dose. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But so I'm wondering if my taste a little bit off, but it's definitely not because I can taste that is beautiful. And it's funny what you get sort of like different towns. Like I was just in New York City. The kind of contrast of that to somewhere like Mullingar. First of all, the price. The pints were pretty much like 10, 11 euro in New York City. And in Boston as well, and in Mullingar they're €4.80, so less than half the price. And then you know Guinness Guru thinks he's a Billy Big Balls strutting around the streets of New York, people shaking hands and kissing babies in Boston. And then you gotta love the Irish culture, will humble you real quick. So walking down the streets in Mullingar, no shaking hands, no kissing babies, people are going about their day. I come into the first pub, give the barman the spiel, he says, I kinda know you, work away. So I was like, yes, one person knows me. Then as I'm setting up the camera, a fella comes over and I'm thinking, you know, and I'm just being honest with you lads, you know, I could not say this, but I'm an honest guy. Fella comes over and I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go, the shaking hands and kissing baby starts.
Can you leave me out of all videos? Or
yeah, you won't be in anything, yeah. Humbled, and dead right. I love that because I'm a confident guy, very easy for the ego to go like this, and then it brings you back down, and you're back to where you were. Do you know, there's a really beautiful taste off that pint. I don't know if it's because I'm a bit bunged up that it's gonna, maybe the pints today are gonna taste slightly different, but quite a roasted flavour off it. And usually I don't like any sort of overpowering flavours, but it tastes more roasted than I'm used to. But it's like a roasted sweetness or something. I'm probably full of absolute garbage as per usual. Creamy, not too much stick, but temperature is perfect. I mean, that's a lovely pint. The only thing missing is a fire, because I'm still feckin' shaking, it's so cold outside. Yeah, this is a lovely bar. They have a stage up the front. I'd say they have a bit of idly hodly live music at the weekends. And just a nice cosy bar. You saw the little area in the back, that's where I'd be chilling. I would have filmed there, except it was too dark. That's where I'd be chilling if I was there having Christmas Eve pints, or sitting in there, possibly with a fire on, sweating your arse off, knowing it's absolutely freezing outside. That's what Christmas is all about. And shout out to all you lads who bought the merch. I think it's actually, I'll let you know on the screen, it could be too late to order for Christmas, but if you ordered already, shout out to you. It was a very good point, despite the lack of shtick. But again, the shtick is just an everlasting mystery that we'll never figure out. Creamy, stayed nice and thick until the end. One or two little bubbles in the head, but didn't really take away from the taste. All the makings of a really, really good pint. It didn't blow my absolute socks off. The ruby red, aka the black liquid, wasn't fighting its way through the cream, so it was thick and creamy, but not the thick and creamiest I've ever had in my life. But I'm really happy with that as my first pint in Mullingar. Easily an 8.3 out of 10. Right lads, heading from Clark's to Dolan's now. Apparently, I think Joe Dolan's pub. I never know if people pulling my leg or what, but yeah, Dolan's. By far the most requested pub in Mullingar. It looks like I'm smoking a fag, it's so cold. Right lads, Dolan's. This is Joe Dolan's above the door, so I presume it's Joe Dolan's. Rest in peace, Joe. I think he died about 10 years ago. Legend of the game. Let's see what the pint is like, Joey boy. Make me look bad.
Enjoy it, enjoy it.
Thank you.
After crack.
Right lads, bit of crack in here. Like I said, the last pub, it's just fucking Irish out lads. Fucking am I at that video? I'm too good looking. Anyway, I'll tell you, I'll have a sip of it. No, it's still settling. It looks pretty fucking exact same as the last place. I know there's a light behind my head, so it's kind of fucking with the video a bit. But it's quite a dark pub. There's no sort of natural light to film, so we're on the loose, we're on the fly. It's grand. Yeah, literally like one or two tiny bubbles in the head, but pretty much nothing. Super clean glass, head perfect size, very good domage. Domage ain't no place like Dome. Sláinte lads. It's a funny story about this pint. Fuck, that's creamy. Oh baby. Oh, will it just... Can you see me all right? Yeah, right, you can see the top of my head. Right, here we go, this is the angle. That is absolutely beautiful. So I walked in, went up to the bar. The main bar was just full of kind of bios sitting having pints. So I kind of walked past that into the middle bar. And I went up to the young lad barman and I said, how's it going? It's just easier to give the spiel every time, even though he was kind of looking at me. I knew well, he knew the crack, but I said, how are you? Can I ask you a question? I always say, can I ask you a question? I have a YouTube channel called The Guinness Guru. He said, I know. And there was a lady sitting at the bar, just on her lunch, having her lunch. And he goes to her, do you want to pour it? And she said, I certainly do. I've been waiting for this all day. And I felt so much respect from that, because she was having her lunch. I said nothing. I didn't say do or don't do it. whoever wants to pour the pint, if they know me, they don't know me, do you know, that's not my fault, I'll take what I'm given. And she got up from her lunch, like, because most people are probably just like, fuck this lad, give him a pint, who gives a shit. She got up from having her lunch and poured this beautiful pint. And it would be very awkward if it was shite, but it's not shite. By God, old Joey Dolan would be proud of that. That's all I can say. That's unreal. That's unreal, lads. And again, none of this crack of your one pour in the pint, none of that comes into it. Do you know what I mean? And this was $4.70, even 10 cents cheaper than Clark's. I don't know why I thought it would be more expensive, as Clark's a little bit out of the town. We're coming back towards into the town. But I don't even know which part is the real town. But anyway, that's just a really great pint. Plain and simple. Oh baby, so creamy. It goes down the gullet, and then you talk about some pints have a bad aftertaste. That has a beautiful aftertaste. Bit of the sort of ice cream effect, as I've explained in the past. Genuinely like tasty, sort of crystally, even though that makes no sense. But just absolute heaven. No, that's serious. It was by far the most recommended pub. Probably twice as recommended as anywhere else. I think Clark's was actually second, and there's no wonder it's the most recommended pub. Sometimes it's unfortunate that places that are just popular spots get most recommended and then the Guinness isn't the best. And I think this is actually a nightclub, Mojo's or something. Again, I'm just going off what I hear. It might be closed down years, it might be still going every night a week, I don't know. But I don't give a shit about all that. That's an immaculate pint. Oh, and it's fucking gone. Look at this shtick, my days. Verdict, lads, this is going to be high. I feel like it's been years since I gave a high score, because I've been to all the sort of major places around Ireland, but you never know where you're going to get an immaculate pint. That, folks, is easily an 8.8 out of 10. Borderline flawless. Would have gotten into 9s possibly if it was the tiniest bit thicker and creamier, but it was just lovely, thick, creamy, tasty, just so tasty. Shtick, unbelievable. And yeah, an absolutely monster score if you're watching the channel long enough. 8.8 probably puts it in the top, definitely in the top 10 pints of all time. Joe Dolan's bar, Mullingar. Shout out to the lovely lady who got off her lunch to pour it. It worked out. Unbelievable pint. Dolan's. Wow. Oh me, oh my, you make me sigh. That was such a lovely pint of Guinness. Joe Dolan, rest in peace, my man. You'll be proud of that. Oh my days, what a pint. 8.8. 8.8 pints on the mind, pints in the hand. 8.8 out of 10. I don't remember the last time. I think it's honestly, you'd have to go back to feckin' Limerick or something last Christmas that I gave that high a score. So yeah, Dolan's fantastic, fair play. And Una was the woman's name. Fair play to Una. What a pint pourer she is. The lads. So heading now to, I think, Casey's and Wallace's. Right lads, pub 3, 4th most recommended pub. Wallace's down the street was the 3rd most recommended. Casey's just pipped the Cross Keys. Hopefully the pint is good. A lot to live up to after Joe Dolan just nailed me with that pint. I'm doing videos drinking pints of Guinness.
It's a tough job.
Very tough job. Not a bubble to be seen in that head, lads. That is velvet. Right, lads. Canton Casey's. My days. Look at that, lads. Fucking tilt it, baby. Oh, wow. That's arguably the best looking pint I've seen today. Mullingar. No messing with the Mullingarians. Here. That's unreal. I mean, first thing that comes to mind is I was nearly not going to come here because it was neck and neck with the Cross Keys place, which I'm sure was great. And it makes me think that that's probably happened in the past, that I know for a fact that I've missed certain pubs in towns that have been unbelievable pints. But again, I can only go off what you lads recommend on Instagram. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're not following on Instagram, make sure you go over and follow so that you can show me the light where to go, because lads, that is class. Philip the barman, absolute gent. He said, didn't know I need a crack, but he said, I gave him the spiel. He said, no problem, sit down, I'll bring it over. Introduce himself. Just a nice guy. Good man, Philip. I mean, talk about drinkability factor. That just goes down like water, better than water. I wouldn't really enjoy a pint of water, who would? That goes down like milk, mother's milk. That's absolutely fantastic. Good job, Philip. Seriously, like, I don't know, lads, the Midlands. I'd be the first one to put my hand up and say I've overlooked the Midlands. I mean, I did Carrick on Shannon a couple of months ago, which even classed that as the Midlands. But, you know, you've got your Offaly, Westmeath, Mullingar, Tullamore, Athlone. I did Athlone, but it was just one bar. I think this might bring on a Midlands revolution, a renaissance, a resurgence. Because, by Jesus, these pints have been good. I thought the first one, the 8.3 in Clark's, I thought that'd be hard to beat. Like, what the fuck, lads? That's as smooth as a baby's arse. Is that what you say? That's a bit of a weird thing to say, though. I'm drinking a pint. But you know what I mean? That is smooth like butter. And I know when it's a good review, and I'm just like I'm literally horsing through that pint. And I'm not an alcoholic, I swear. You'd think I would be by now. But honestly, like, it's like just eating an ice cream. You're just like, get inside me. Lads, that thing's gone. It's been about 2.5 minutes. The thing is gone, the shtick. Look at the shtick. I am blown away by Mullingar. Sticky situation I am in right now. It's unreal. The taste just isn't quite as good as Dolan's down the street. When I tasted that initial Dolan, when I initially tasted Dolan's, I was just like, oh my God, that just tastes like ice cream, vanilla ice cream, smooth. That is almost as good, but it's still going to be an absolutely monster score. Canton Casey's was nearly not even going to come here. By God, I'm glad I came here. 8.6 out of 10. You heard that correct, lads. We've had an 8.8 and an 8.6. I don't give out scores like that. But Mullingar has risen to the challenge. And my Jesus, the pints have been good. Right, lads, a lovely Christmassy night in Mullingar, just out of Casey's. I was sitting there for about 20 minutes, charging up the camera, heading to Wallace's now was my last pub. There was a lot of debate in the pub. Some lads were saying Cross Keys, some were saying Smitty's, some were saying Wallace's. I had Wallace on the list. I'm going to stick to it as my last pub. But I was chatting to a fella. It was as random as anything, but that's why I love doing these videos, especially just small Irish towns. You never know who you meet. A fella called John McDermott, a painter, an animator. He was like, give me 5 minutes before you leave, blah, blah, blah. And I see him sketching away on a little betting slip. I didn't know what he was at. Comes over to me, boom. It's a sketch of one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turns out this fella was like the head animator for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in like 87 to 90. Obviously would have watched that back in the day, like to know that it's just mad. The people you meet on these trips, it's unbelievable. It's like nothing else. These videos are, whatever about the pints, it's all about the people. Last pub, Wallace's, Mullingar. I've been absolutely blown away by the standard of Guinness. Let's have a good finish in Wallace's. Final pub, Wallace's. Right lads, you can see by the curtains behind me that it's old school, curtains closed. Just a really cool little pub, like kind of no nonsense, quite unique looking, the sort of yellow walls, kind of light wood fixtures. It's made, it definitely looks a little bit better with the sort of Christmas decorations and stuff, but I was actually told in the last pub, like I was saying, it was a toss-up between here. I'm only talking because the pint is settling, don't worry, I will drink it when it's settled. And it actually looks fantastic, to be fair, by jazz. Look at the domage, lads. What is going on in Mullingar? Not a bubble to be seen in the head. I'm glad I came here. Right, we'll have a swig and we'll talk. Launch it. Oh, fucking, that's unbelievable again. So, it was a toss-up, like I said, between Wallace's was the third most recommended pub. Casey's, the last one, which I'm delighted I went to, was neck and neck with a place called the Cross Keys, which used to be Finn's, so I'm getting a lot of Mullingar education today. And then when I was in Casey's, your man who did the drawing, the animation, John McDermott, he was like, the Cross Keys is the best Guinness. Another fella said, I was in Smitty's a few weeks ago, it was great. But again, like I said, they were all agreeing that Wallace's was decent as well. And someone said, Jimmy's a great character down there. And you see Jay Wallace on the front. So it's nice to actually have the bit of inside information when you come into the pub instead of coming in totally blind. So it's actually good to sort of ask questions in the previous pubs when you're going to the next one. So I saw Jay Wallace, so I was presuming that's Jimmy. I walked in, there was an L boy behind the bar, walked up, very friendly, said, how's it going? I was like, are you Jimmy? And you're trying to sort of give the spiel of the Guinness Guru, especially to the L boys. You're kind of trying to think, right, what's the best way to go about this? So usually I wouldn't even say it, but then I'm whipping out the camera in the middle of a quiet enough bar. You're probably thinking, what's this lad at? So I said, are you Jimmy? He said, I am. I said, Jimmy, my name's Darren. I do a thing on YouTube called the Guinness Guru. I go around drinking pints around Ireland. I'm in Mullingar. Your place, Wallace's, was highly recommended. And he said, no problem. Sit down, I'll bring the pint over to you. You never know what you're going to get back from the L boys. Sometimes they could say, Jimmy was all about it. Mad for a crack. Absolute character, as promised in the previous pub. And he's delivered me an absolute doozy of a pint as well. So Jimmy, can't imagine you'd be watching this, but if you are, you're a legend, son. Oh, the cream on that, my God, it's creamy. There are certain times you go to certain towns and I wouldn't say the expectations were low, but you just think, you know, like, your Dingles, your Galways, your West, your Dublin, like that's where the best pints of Guinness are going to be. But this just goes to show the best pints of Guinness can be anywhere. Because that is 4 unbelievable pints. I mean, the first one, Clark's, thought this is probably the best I'm going to get. It was lovely. And Dolan's was like, bosh, kicked the door in, better. Casey's, almost as good, and this is not fucking far behind, if not equal. I haven't made my judgment yet, but like, quite an unassuming pub. You walk in, there's not a few heads around, not much going on, but it's all about this stuff, lads. It's not the pub guru. I'll comment on the pub, but it's all about this stuff right in my hand. God's nectar. Jimmy boy, you've done good. Do you know what, lads, there's a reoccurring theme. Not quite, like Clark's was more, there was a few like Americans and stuff. But in the last 3 pubs, there's been a reoccurring theme of those, and we all know them lads, we all have them in our local. Those sort of 3, 4, 5 lads in the corner sitting at the bar, chatting away to the barman. He's probably sick of their shite at this stage, chatting about whatever's relevant, the World Cup, whatever it is, giving their opinion as if they have a fucking clue. And I'm sure I'll be that now lad in a few years' time. But it really, but like they're the heart and soul of these pubs. They're the boys coming in every day, having 2, 3, 4 pints, keeping the place afloat. But it is just funny. I've found that in each of the last 3 pubs, you'll probably hear it in the background noise, just that typical fucking, oh, well, I think this and I think that, and you should have that, as if they have a clue. None of us have a clue. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. But like, look at the shtick on that. As the jumper would suggest, Mary flipping shtickmas, lads. That is absolutely class. I'm gonna go 8.4 out of 10. Still a massive score. Probably doesn't seem as impressive because I've just given an 8.8 and an 8.6. But the ringtone's gone off in here, lads. The ringtone's gone off in here. I feel like I'm back in like second year, which would have been probably 2007 or something, when people actually have songs for the ringtones. I think Mullingar, it might be a little bit behind in the times, but it's miles ahead in the pints. 8.4 for Wallace's. Jimmy Wallace, what a character, what a legend. And it's safe to say I've been blown away by the standard of pints in Mullingar. Thanks for watching, lads. We'll see you in the next one. Happy Christmas, Merry Stickmas.